motion can also be called as stop frame. This is used to form of our animation. We call these inanimate things that aren't able to come to life, but they look realistic towards the audience. They use many singular frames to show every movement and object that is taken for every picture, and when putting this all together, every shot should be perfectly in sync with every photo that you have taken within the frame. Towards the audience's eye, it looks as if the moving objects and people are moving by themselves, when in fact the frames make the illusion that everything is moving together. Persistence of vision is shown for a certain amount of time, giving someone time to be able to glance at a certain image and then looking at another image. This helps you remember what you have just seen, and these only last for about 0.4 seconds. This also helps to stop the whole world from going pitch black every time you blink your eyes. This also creates the movement of an illusion, giving the effect that you are able to see everything in those 0.4 seconds. So creating the illusion of the certain object will let you retain more of what you have just seen.
Persistence of vision makes you see each raindrop in several places, over a distance of several inches. Let's look at a picture of a car and a picture of a moving landscape to show how the eye can make them seem to overlap. Let's run them on the screen, one after the other. We look at them for 2 seconds each, then for 1 second each. Now, faster and faster until we see the two pictures as if they were both one picture, another optical illusion.
Stop frame is when a certain movement or object has been captured in that one movement so that you are able to see everything in that one moment or second. This happens well with physical objects that are able to move between the frames. This helps to see smaller things in an easier way. As the frames help you to be able to see everything in that one movement, the sequence is so rapid and fast that the objects are shown to create an illusion that makes you think other things whilst you are looking into this. Frame rate is about the number of images that are being photographed in one moment. These are taken in seconds. Every photo that is taken has a time span of a few seconds, which means it doesn't last for that long. This is why this is then called the frame rate. The frame is meant for how long the movie lasts for. This is also measured by frames. Every time you take a new frame, it is recorded per second, and this is done in an accurate motion which can be seen and is more precise, rather than guessing what second you're at. The accurate readings of the frames help the movie to go in a motion. If any of the frames go out of sync, then the movie starts to jump. Movements of models is the amount of photographs you take to show that one object moving into a different position. This is fast-paced and shows where or how the object is moving. This can be used with any object. The more frames used for that object, the long the movie lasts for and flows to how more of an understanding of the movie you are able to see more images in the frame. Joseph Plateau was the first person to demonstrate the illusion of a moving image. These were repeated drawn images which were done in one motion. This is called a phanetoscope. The reason for doing the drawings for the phanetoscope, as he enjoyed drawing and also collecting butterflies. He is also a very experimental person, which means he enjoys finding and making new things for the phanetoscope. He found this interesting as it was something new for the audience to recognise and look at, as a phanetoscope was such an unusual toy. He was important as in 1832, he was the first man to have ever made an animation to move by using images. This leads into persistence of vision, as you are able to see this for a certain amount of time, and the amount may only be for a few seconds. This was the first ever animation that was able to use images by Joseph and his toy. The materials he used were a disc, which showed the images, which moved around, a mirror which reflected off the phanetoscope, which helped the images to be seen. Platou is inspired by himself, where he is able to make his own town by himself. Not only did Joseph make a phanetoscope, he was able to discover other things, also helped by his father. The zoetrope was created by William Horner in 1834. He had many names for this toy, which was named the Deludum, or Wheel of the Devil. This was adapted from the phanetoscope. There were similar toys which didn't need a mirror to be able to see the images. This was an increase to Joseph Platou's invention, which made this a better creation, and more than one person at a time could look at this. They were able to do this as the shape of this toy made into a drum, which meant that you were able to look over the top of the drum as this was open. This made it easier for people to look at the motion. For 30 years, this toy had been forgotten about, and once Joseph Platou created a similar toy which got recognised by more and more people, other people started to recognise William's toy. This became big, and the audience as Joseph's theory and toy was so similar. William was inspired by Joseph once his phanetoscope came out. William's toy was known for a better version of the phanetoscope. It had more things available for the audience to see, and the shape was better for the images to be able to see by the audience exactly how this would be shown. Moving further on, Edward Muybridge was the first ever man to make moving images flow together in sequence. He used over 15 photos. He wanted to show that all 4 feet of the horse were able to move as images. He wanted to prove to everyone that by using a simple camera of images, you are able to combine them together to move one movement. He mainly works on animal motion because he finds this more appealing, for the images have a nice motion once they are in the camera. Alongside him was a person called Edison, who created a motion of pictures which began in 1888. They proposed as they would join together and put both of their ideas into one, which would make a better camera. He is known for his own work also, which is including his phonograph, which was invented in 1877. This was the first ever invention that was able to record sound, and for this he was able to be heard. The phonograph would collect the sound from the tube and then would travel all the way down. Both inventors are inspired by each other as they look towards both inventions, which they have put together to make one camera. Moving on to others who have developed on from the animations, which starts with Willis O'Brien, who was the animator where he made movies and films such as Classic King Kong in 1933, and he also animated the dinosaurs for the film version of Arthur Conan Doyle's. He was very famously known for his special effects that pioneered the technique of stop motion. He first started off making short films in 1914, and from this he was able to experiment longer films, and he was able to see what it was like. He was known for the classic King Kong, which is now made into a remake, which is mostly common known film he has ever made. This took 16 years to make. He also worked on another gorilla picture, or Marion Scene Cooper, and Ernest Bean. Willis was also awarded an Oscar for the best visual effects, which was awarded in King Kong for his best achievements. He had his own inspired imagination where he was able to create, which was mostly successful throughout the world, and he used some creators to help him make the most well-known film and many others. Jan Stas Major, who was also a developer who had many inventions in the media industry, and his films expanded from everything. His films vary from all different ages, and for example from Alice, which was made in 1988, to Garden in 1967. The making of these films has changed, and what used to be made for films was completely opposite. This is shown in this time comparison, and also moved along more equipment had been brought out to make these films in a better way. This is shown by colours and also clearness of the films. Jan has made films where been published over the 18th and 19th century. Not only were the films known for his great work, but various films shone against others and what he had made. He was self-labelled movie maker, where he was known for his surreal animations and features, where Jan influenced other artists such as Terry Gilliam and the Brothers Quay. The Brothers Quay is the most original filmmakers anyone has recognised. They were identical twins who had the same ideas throughout the career. They made many films such as Street Crocodiles in 1986, and then also got recognised by Tim Gilliam, where he selected this as one of the 10 best animated films of all time. After a long period of time of being out, it soon got recognised for the features and all that it did. Following on from this, they then made a film called Institute Benjamin Benter. This was set as a feature-length filmmaker. This also became big within this. The Quays have also directed pop promos for his name is Alive, Michael Penn, Sparkle House, 16 Horsepower and Peter Gabriel. In 2013, they collaborated with composer Steve Martland for the live event of the Tate Modern in London. They had a past history of making many films that were unusual for the audience to watch. Various films that they had made were different to any other and had been. They also collaborated with some people which had made them popular for others to go and see. As we come into more modern times, we're able to see that the update software which allows us to use animations on computers, and we are also able to control more characters from a simple, which is very technical. This is also faster and easier when it comes to making a film. Aardman Animation, who is the latest producers, who have made many films which have been the most popular to the audience. For example, they made Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, which was made in 2005. This was made with clay, which we called claymation. Wallace and Gromit was the first animated film to be distributed by DreamWorks Pictures. This was directed by Nick Park and Steve Box. This movie was the first movie to have been published on a DVD and also a VHS. This took many years to make, and every moment of the clay had to be moved separately, and also the shots had to be perfect so that the film would have flown correctly. They were company-based filmmakers who allowed other directors to work for them to make all the films that they have. They have been making films since the 19th century, and they have made some amazing films, but the most popular and outstanding film would have to be Wallace and Gromit. The audience loved this, and they had many views on this. There are many animations they can be presented through media. TV animations allows us to see the whole view of animation and what varieties we have through the TV. There are many programs which show the animation and its greatest forms. For example, we see a lot of animation on kids' TV programs such as Cartoon Network and also Nickelodeon. They are the most popular as children are intrigued by what they see throughout animation and how interesting it can be to them. This was launched in October 1st, 1992. To get recognised, we use animation in advertisement to advertise the various products that are new, or either to show different things to an audience. A most commonly known product which advertised through animations is M&M's. This has been going for years, and they are animated to be able to get the M&M's around. They started manufacturing the product in March 3rd, 1941. Further on from this, advertisement was shown all around the country using adverts for this to get recognised. From the latest software to not much at all.